Welcome
Sure.
Himanshu, a formal welcome to
Thank you.
this call. And
Thank you.
as I said, very, very glad to see you after so long.
Sure. Sure.
And
Thank you.
just for everyone in the group,
Yeah.
I would request you to introduce yourself.
Sure. 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 Hi everyone. My name is Himanshu Chopra. I've just passed out of IIMK currently PGPX 20 X18 batch, which ended uh, on in March 2024. We had a convocation, but yet just 3 weeks back. And before that, I had close to 6 years experience. I was working as a software development engineer and then as a product manager at Tesco Bangalore. My whole experience was in retail and e-commerce in that domain in technology. And then I had applied to ISB also, and like I got an IIMK. Currently, I'm working as a senior product manager at Technotree. It's a telecom SaaS startup that I've joined just 3 weeks back. So yeah, excited to meet you all. I also want to understand the kind of audience I see.
All of them are very serious IMA applicants, all of
Okay.
them, and they
Yeah.
are.
So yeah, in what stage of applications? Like all of them have written GMAT or like, so that we can have
So,
more
Himanshu,
focused.
as you already know, I really, really push people to start early.
Yeah.
Some of them have taken the GMAT and they have a decent GMAT already. Some of them have not.
Okay.
We have started building the application
Okay.
parallel,
Okay. Yeah.
small bits.
Yeah.
So that is the stage they all are in.
Sure.
Uh, Himanshu, one thing I want to explain, not explain, share your experience with the people. You had applied to ISB before as well, right? Before.
I had applied to ISB before. I had applied to ISB actually in 2021.
Yes.
I contacted Anshul in 2020, September 2020. So I had made a unsuccessful application to ISB before meeting Schulich.
Yes. So you applied in 2021 and then you applied in 2022 again.
22 again. Yeah. So sorry, 2022 I had applied for the admission cycle for that cycle, and then we applied together in 2023 for that. So basically in March, the session starting in 2022, I had made an application.
Yeah. No, I'm talking
Yeah.
about the year. So 2021 is the year you applied, and
Yeah. Yes.
2022
Yes.
was the
Correct.
year you applied again.
Correct.
So
Correct. That's it.
2021 you did not get through ISB. 2022 also ISP you didn't get through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then IIM Ahmedabad first round also you didn't get through.
I am the yeah. So eventually, I am the first round. I did not get through, but eventually it converted. I was waitlisted. Like I
Yes.
didn't receive a reject ever from I am the It was a waitlist, and then eventually I received the waitlist in I am Bangalore as well.
Right.
Eventually both converted,
Yeah.
right?
So
And I
I
had
want to talk,
joined.
I want you to talk about how to keep yourself motivated and how to keep working
Yeah,
when there's so many rejections, that to back to back.
yeah, yeah,
Because this is where most people falter. They get
yeah,
rejected once and that's it. They
yeah,
lose
yeah,
their mojo, they lose everything, they go back to the same job they used to hate just
yeah,
because they couldn't get through just
yeah,
once.
yeah.
So would you say something about it?
Yeah. So I was very focused in my mind that I wanted to do a MBA. And also like I was like since was on and personally I was married also. So I was like I wanted to do it this year itself. Like I cannot delay it too much uh going forward, right? And I had always set a trajectory for my career. Like I was in SD and then I wanted to move into PM job. So I just could see the void where it existed and
Right.
an MBA how the MBA could fill it. Now ISB I did not get through and eventually like looking back I could understand like what actually ISB looks for and I probably uh didn't fill in the exact things that ISB looks for.
Yeah.
But but eventually like I had some backups like I had IIM Kozhikode or IIM Lucknow as backup school if I didn't want to like I didn't make it to IIM A or B. But it's like if your ultimate motivation is clear, right? I had said that like I wanted to do an MBA and back to this year. So I made all the efforts that I could do, right? I'm Ahmedabad at that time had applications open for all 3 rounds and people
Yeah.
could apply to round one, round three. I made applications to IIM Bangalore as well and to other schools as well. And I just kept trying. And there's no rocket science to it. Uh,
Yeah.
I, I just kept correcting my mistakes, whatever. I just kept taking mock interviews. I remember taking 3 or 4 mock interviews with Anshul, one or two with other analysts at
In
IIMA, and
total, you took 7 to 8. I just
7 to 8
remember.
mock interviews. I kept doing that and just keep correcting your mistakes. And I eventually realized that I was always getting interview calls. I had a decent GMAT score. It was a 730 GMAT score. And
7:30. I
eventually,
thought it was 7:40 for you.
730 in the first attempt, then 740 in the next attempt.
Right.
In the first
Yes.
attempt, it was 730.
Yeah.
740 in the second one. The only blocker that had was in the interview, and that too, now I realize it's because a lot of people come in the admission pool because with similar background as me, right?
Yes.
A lot of software engineers come who want to move into product roles. I think similar is the case at ISB itself. So it's
Yes.
just bettering yourself for interview prep and all those things that work from. At IIM Ahmedabad, what I realized very quickly was that in round one, so in round one, I just talked about in the interviews about my past achievements, what I had received, what I had done as an individual contributor, as a software developer, or as a product manager. But I am Ahmedabad. The program is structured as such that they want to take people who are like in the initial management career, right? And they want to take them to the next level.
Yeah.
So in round two and round three, I focused on showing those aspects of my profile as well. That, okay, I have done some, or at least I am capable of doing some managerial task as well, and that aspect I focused a lot in my interviews. So eventually it struck well, and I could continue.
So this is one thing that I want everyone to listen very carefully, because many people say that because was written somewhere about managerial work X
Yes,
requirement, kind of
they do,
requirement.
they do.
But it's not like you need it before going to
Yeah, yeah.
IIMA. They never
No,
need. You did not have any managerial
I
experience.
I did not have. You just have to explain them that you are capable of doing.
Yes,
There are
because
there are
Priyanshi
yeah.
got in with 4 years of work X. 4 years
Yeah,
में
so
what managerial work X you'll
no,
have.
no, 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 no company in the world, as I can understand, can give managerial experience, at least people managerial experience in
Yeah.
4 years of. So you cannot. I can vouch for that. There are a lot of people who were my batchmates who did not, who were individual contributors, and especially coming in an industry like software development or IT related industries, people tend to take a little bit of time before they become people managers or before they handle very big projects, right? So it cannot be before 7 or 8 years that you do management stuff as well. But it's just that they look that you have the capability and you can do that. So that is their focus. If you can justify that, very well, they are happy to do.
Right. Also, Himanshu, the batch profile of this batch, I mean, the which
Yeah,
has started, it came 1 or 2 days ago. They shared the statistics. So,
yeah.
average work X is still around 7.5 years.
7 and 7
Seven something, yeah. But at least with me, my people, I have seen people with lower work X always getting in. You got in
Yeah,
with 5 years. Priyanshi got in with 4 years. Sayed also 5 years.
yeah,
Sindhura was a bit senior. I
yeah,
agree. But Mayank also got in with exactly 5 years.
yeah,
So what does the demographic look like? Of course, we know the average. But batch में
yeah.
क्या 4-5 years वाले लोग हैं? कितने हैं? कैसे आए वो?
Eventually, yes, they especially I would say e- eventually in the placements, the people who were easily placed are the people in the range of 5 to 7 years of work experience.
Okay.
People who had higher number of experience, say 10 or 12, eventually because they look for very focused roles,
Yes.
they look for very industry specific roles. They have a lot of uh, I'll take only that kind of a job kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Which
So
makes sense
even
also. Why will
which
they
makes sense, right?
compromise?
Which makes sense, right? But from a placement perspective, it becomes easier for people from 5 to 7 because it is kind of a sweet spot, right? Consulting companies, as you know, always look for people who have a relatively less number of experience, at least at
Yes.
IIMK.
Yes.
The BCGs, the ADLs of the world, the other agencies of the world, they look at people who have relatively less number of experience, and that is why they prefer IIMA PGP students
Yeah.
also, right?
Yeah.
So for a PGPX, if you have 10 years, it's very difficult to get in
Yeah,
that.
that's the same case for ISB also. ISB is called the
Okay.
consulting mecca of the
Yeah,
country, but it is difficult for older people to get
older
consulting
people to
there.
get that. That's a fact, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for your application too, if you have less number of experience, also even if you are at 5, 6, also I would say you have a good chance. You have a good chance of getting into the school and doing well at the school as well eventually. So
Okay.
it's not a concern at all. I feel.
Okay, perfect. Because so many people say that, okay, I only have 4 years. Of course, I have
Yeah,
already broken that myth with Priyanshi, but
yeah.
this is only 4 years. They want 8 years. Actually, yeah, they do not want 8 years. 8 years is
They do
average.
not want 8 years the average, and
Yeah.
it kind of gets skewed. You know why? Because there are some say, because IIMA wants to take a lot of army veterans also. In our
Hmm.
batch, they were at least, if I'm not wrong, seven, eight, nine people who come from a very strong army background or navy background or armed forces background.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those people are the ones who have experience of like 12, 13, 14 years. So they
Right.
they kind of push the average up, right?
Okay.
People with normal engineering backgrounds, they have relatively less number of experience.
Right.
So that 7.5 that you see, that is because of a set of people who already are sitting at 12, 13, 14. That is why if you remove them, the average comes down to 6, 6.5.
Okay. Himanshu, you talked about scholarship. Now, scholarship at IIM Ahmedabad, I'm not very clear because they write that they do not give during while you're entering the college,
Yeah,
unlike ISB, which gives you with the
yeah,
admit letter only.
yeah.
How does a scholarship work at IIM Ahmedabad, and how much scholarship people get, and how many people get scholarship? Like ISB have made
I can
it
talk
clear
about it. Yeah.
25% batch will get scholarship. What
Yeah.
about IIM Ahmedabad?
So I am Ahmedabad. I can talk about it. So it gives around, there are two kind of scholarships. One is entry scholarships, and the other one is exit scholarship that you get after passing out during convocation. Basically, you get the exit scholarships. Entry scholarships are rewarded. I think so. So the way it works is you get into the college on. So they'll open a portal for everyone where you have to write essays again, like you did for
Oh my
uh,
God. These
like
essays are never ending.
yeah, like you did for your MBA applications. So they'll just ask you, why do you want to apply for the scholarships and why are you the best suited person for that? You
Oh
have
my
to
God.
justify, right? In a very short, it's just a 200 word essay that you, and the portal is everyone for everyone to apply. Eventually, I think last year they had some 25 scholarships
Oh,
or 20 to 25 scholarships out of a batch of 147,
not
right?
bad, yeah. It's
Not bad,
how
yeah.
much they got?
So I think, as far as I remember, it was 20 to 25% of the SSH fees, which was close to 7.5 to 8 lakh.
Not bad. Not bad.
7.5 to 8 lakhs is. Plus, but the thing is, eventually how it turns out is the people who, now these entry scholarships are, as I said, for promoting diversity. So general male engineers are like, do not have very bright chances. I'll be very
Yeah.
like it's a fact there. But people, females have a very good chance there. Like I saw people, females with very um like IT experience of 7, 8 years. They also got scholarships, so that's fine. Again, people who have a little bit of diverse backgrounds. You have worked in the social sector. If you have worked in NGOs, if you have worked in all these, things which are not mainstream, so you have a good chance. Now, coming to the exit scholarship. Exit scholarships is again the same amount, close to 20% of the fee. It is given based on merit. If you are in the top five of the batch academically, uh, get a scholarship of the exit scholarship. And there's one all-rounder performer, that kind of a scholarship as well. It basically depends on how your performance is, how much extracurriculars you have done, what it's a combination. Apart from that, this year they had started one interest waiver scholarship also, which is like, if you have taken a loan from the bank and your interest accumulated on it, that will be waived off. So
Who is going to IIM Ahmedabad without taking a loan? I wonder.
yeah,
I'm
there
sure
are some
everyone
people.
took a loan.
There are some people who are not, but uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe with 6, 7 years of work ex, people have
yeah,
accumulated some savings. So I
yeah. So
maybe
there was this interest waiver loan scholarship as well. So cumulatively, if you accumulate everything, I would say there are close to 30 to 35 scholarships to be taken
not.
for a batch of 150.
Which is the percentage is now greater than ISB. ISB is only 25%. So
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this is
yeah.
amazing because Bangalore and Calcutta does not provide anything, is what I've heard.
And the focus is increasing. Like from what I hear from the director, from what I hear from the chairperson of PGPX, that percentage will only go up. It will not come down for sure.
Okay, great. Uh, Now, just to summarize, how was your experience? Then I'll open it
Yeah,
to for the question.
amazing. To be honest, amazing. I like my first choice was to go to ISB. Like Anshul also knows that, but I could not go through. So I, I, I initially when I went to IIMA PGPX, my in my subconscious mind I had that okay, I have to settle for it. That kind of a mindset I
Yeah,
had. But it went away in the initial first month
yeah. There's nothing.
because
IIM Ahmedabad, you cannot
yeah,
say that
yeah,
you settled for it. IIM
yeah,
Ahmedabad has too
yeah,
strong a legacy, and you
yeah,
also save 10 lakhs the fees
yeah.
to.
So initially, my mindset was like that. Okay, like probably ISB would have been the better choice, but then uh, the professors are top notch. I mean, probably the best you'll get in the country, equally as good as ISB, I would say, or any other university in India. Right? You would have a professor who heads the monetary policy committee in RBI, who has it. You would have professors who have sat on the board of biggest companies in say the Tatas or whatnot, and professors who have been partners at McKinsey's of the world, right? And their knowledge and their kind of teaching style is really amazing. Also, since I did not have a lot of background in finance and marketing,
Yeah.
I found it very fascinating. The things that I learned, especially, it was pretty cool. Apart from academics, if I speak, extracurriculars, sports, I may you just name the thing. I may of course has everything. You have every sport on campus which is available at for students. You have like there are a lot of fests which keep happening. Campus life. Also, you will be constantly interacting with a lot of PGPs, which again I feel are who of course are IMA PGPs is probably the best MBA program in the whole country. Right?
Yes.
To crack that is very difficult. So there are some 300 to 400 PGP students on campus who will be interacting regularly.
Yeah,
So
that is
that also
something.
adds to your
Very
learning.
fresh perspective of younger people.
Yeah, yeah, people, they will be younger than you, of course. They will be like 24, 20, 23, 24 years of age, maybe. Uh, but all of them are pretty smart when it comes to like their trade. And it's a learning experience. We learn from them, they learn from us.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's a good thing. So
Also, you get to meet two batches together, right? Of PGP2,
or
PG.
PGP1 goes on and PGP2 goes on,
Yeah.
and then PGPX goes on. So it's like they have divided the structure is like they look at all the college events that take place. So there are five sections of PGP, PGP1, A, B, C, D, E, and then there's a different section called X, which is like PGPX.
Hmm.
So it's all the events take place in with these six sections. All the fests that will have internal competitions or sports fest, whatever in the college it takes place with these six sections. So it's a very coherent, and I mean, it's a very conducive environment. And I could not have asked for more at
Okay, that's great. Thanks for sharing everything, Himanshu. Now I would open the session for questions from people. Yeah, Aditya, please go ahead. You can
Hi,
unmute yourself.
hi Aditya.
Hi, Himanshu. First of all, thank you for giving your time here in this, in your busy schedule.
Thank
So,
you.
I understand that you're from a product management,
Yeah.
background. I wanted to understand what is the scope for marketing for a person who has just, crossed, I would say, 4 years of experience post IIMA,
Post, no, sorry.
post
Yeah.
graduating from IIMA.
Yeah.
What is this for a marketing person who wants to aspire to be a part of an FMCG company? Do they look at some sort of work experience? Do they have a minimum cap on that?
So you're looking especially at FMCG companies, is it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I'll answer your question. Like FMCG companies at IMA would like would more or less focus on PGP program. You have your HULs, ITCs, or whatnot, like Hindustan Unilever, ITC, all those companies they come, they take for marketing roles mostly from PGP programs. Some hiring will happen from PGPX as well. But they might be for different roles because initially, what I have understood it's like they are looking for very fresh young people to join their organizations as interns as well and as fresh employees as well. but the opportunities are there for PGPX folks also.
One thing that I've noticed about HUL, PNG, I'm not sure, but
Yeah, PNG also.
HUL during my time, they do not shy away from taking people who have higher WOCX, but you need to start with sales for HUL. They will put you in sales
Exactly.
for 2-3 years.
Mostly starting with sales also.
Yeah, and then you will get that fancy brand manager job at the Mumbai headquarters.
That's true.
ISB, they have always taken people with more WOCX. So I'm sure if they get someone who is eligible, they will take from PGPX also.
Yeah. And it is an increasing trend. Like a lot of companies initially I had seen, especially consulting companies also, their focus was PGP, but then in recent times that I've seen, like they have more open to considering PGPX folks as well and people with higher number of experiences.
See,
I think that is
what
the
is happening,
trend with
these 1-year MBAs, earlier, few years ago, they used to take very senior people. Now it is decreasing every year. No company would prefer an absolute fresher over someone who has worked for some years. And in such cases, trust me, PGPX will always have an advantage.
Correct. Anything particular that you wanted to ask about that on Aditya, sir? Apart from
So I think I clarified most of my doubts here because Anshul mentioned that it's going to be a sales role, but I have already been inside a sales role for the past 4 years.
You will start with a sales role at HUL, and then we'll move to marketing. That's how they do. At least that's how they have been doing this since a few years. If they have changed it recently, I'm not sure.
I think it's the same.
Okay.
Thank you, Himanshu. Thank you, Anshul.
Though, but that sales role would be extremely rewarding than what you have been doing right now.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Yeah, I don't mind doing sales. I am always good at that.
Very rewarding because people are placed in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and they are getting paid a hell lot of money. So they do crazy on savings, and with that saving, they're able to pay off the loan in 1 2
Yeah, a lot of I remember 3 or 4 folks have been placed at Coca-Cola this year from our batch.
PGPX.
In sales, in PGPX, sales and marketing. If you want, Aditya, I can connect them with you.
That is my dream company. I was looking for that same organization.
Yeah, I can connect them with you if you like. I can pass on the contacts to Anshul. So they have got a sales role at Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola came for senior leadership role even at ISB with 6 years of work, minimum 6 years. I remember. मेरे time पे. Coca-Cola is another company which often prefers people with more WOCX.
So I may have a drawback here because I am lacking in a couple of years of WorkX, but eventually we'll land there.
No, that was there during my time. I'm just giving you one example. Not really that they want 6 years every year. But I'm saying that I have often noticed they take people with WorkX. They do not prefer younger people. Okay,
and Coke is just one company. There are other examples as well. I can talk about it in detail maybe later. But there are a lot of options.
So we can connect over LinkedIn and discuss it once.
Sure.
Yes, Rahul.
Hi, Ram.
Unmute yourself.
Hi, Himanshu. Hi, Anshul.
Hi, Ram. Hi, Ram.
Yeah. So thanks, Himanshu, for sharing your time. I just had 2 quick questions. First, I was in a discussion with Anshul before also that once you enter a particular 1-year MBA program and you have in your mind that you want to go ahead with this role, right? You want to pivot into this sector. But Anshul told that you should be open once you go up into a college, right? So did you see people like earlier they would have a mindset कि मुझे ये करना है, and then during the MBA they changed that mindset. Okay, now we can go to this role.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay. I'll answer that. I mean it's always good to have options open, right? I mean you can have a plan going into MBA school, but then things take their own course, right? And it's always good to have 2 or 3 options open. In a bad market this year, like if for example if you keep only one option open and you don't happen to convert them, then what? I have seen a lot of people who wanted okay, I'll do only consulting. I'll sit only for consulting companies only. But they have had and they have changed their path as well during MBA, right? It's like you come in with the mindset, and IIMA PGPX is there to modify, like to teach you things. You just cannot have a set path and then eventually expect कि यार ये तो ऐसे ही होगा. I mean, things will eventually change, and people have to change their expectations or their targets according to that as well. I know a lot of people in our batch who have done that, who wanted to go to some other things, but eventually they have moved to other things as well.
Also, you
And
don't
it's
know
very common.
before starting your MBA that
Yeah,
what opportunities are available to you.
yeah, yeah.
Right? And once you start going through those subjects and during your core courses, your perspective changes. You
Changes.
might be able to appreciate a new field
Correct.
completely.
Right. For example, like I did not see that consulting is something that I would want to go into, right? But then eventually, when I interact with a lot of consulting clubs in a college, or a lot of folks who uh, eventually were focused in that or had some prior experience in that, I really like that was my backup if I did not get a product manager role that I was aspiring to. So eventually, you have to prioritize and make things that work for you. That always happens, Rahul.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks, Himanshu. That really answers. Second question was that like most of us hear about peer learning experiences. Could you just share your experiences? How was it for you?
Yeah, it's really the structure is such that it forces you kind of to do peer learning. So at IIM Ahmedabad, you're divided into syndicates, right?
Hmm.
Syndicates are basically study groups. So groups of 8 or 9, or I think this year maybe 10 people. They are divided into a study group, and all the assignments that you do initially, at least in the first 2 terms, term one and term two. So basically, uh, that is like from April to August. So for 4 months, all the assignments that you'll be doing. So in all the subjects, there will be a group assessment component which will be associated with your grade. So that you do with those folks only, 8, 9. Now I am Ahmedabad is very strategic about it. How they form those groups is like whatever your background is, they'll try to include people with very diverse backgrounds in a syndicate group as well. So that it's not like okay, 8 engineers who have worked in IT, all of them are sitting together in a group, right? So that defeats the whole purpose of peer learning because all 8 of them think the same way.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting with a dentist, or if I'm sitting with an HR, or if I'm sitting with a person coming from energy background, right? For example, their learnings or their perspective towards the subject, towards the thing, towards everything will be very very different than what I have, and it adds to my learning as well and to theirs as well. So this is the peer learning that happens. Also in classes, when you have classes, there's a class participation component also
Yeah.
in the grade. So at IIMA, like I'm not sure Anshul, how is it at ISB, but at IIMA, all classes are case based. So you are supposed to read a case. They'll give you a case mat for every subject. You are supposed to read that case before coming to class, and that class is just a discussion on that case. So they teach you those concepts through that case that they have prepared. Now, what is this case that I'm talking about? These cases, these cases are basically real time business scenario problems that I are articulated in there. For example, some company like Southwestern Airlines, it was facing this problem during its operations, right? And how did they approach that problem? Now, there's no right or wrong answer to that problem, but they just want to tell you that what was the problem that they had faced and teach you the concept of the subject through that. So it happens throughout all the subjects, and that is where the class participation stuff comes in all the lectures. And apart from that, as I mentioned, the syndicate assignments are there for you.
The Southwestern case is still going on.
Yeah,
It was during my time as well. They're
yeah,
still
yeah, yeah. It's like a pretty old one. I
yeah.
remember.
And there was this one with Zara also. I think that is
Yeah,
also going on
yeah,
these days.
yeah. And IIMA, I would say it. IIMA follows Harvard. It's not a secret, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In most of its day-to-day thing. So a lot of those cases are borrowed from Harvard. They purchased it from Harvard.
Yeah.
And which are pretty good. I mean, if you read them, the way they have been written, they have been articulated. It's excellent. A lot of some other cases and some other cases are from IIMA itself. I think they have taken some from ISB and IIMK as well. So it's a very rich collection that IIMA has.
Thanks,
Great.
Himanshu. I think that answers both of my question.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm done.
I see a question in the chat by Krisha Gandhi.
how stressful are exams at IIM-A? So I've often heard this that ISB is more chill and IIMs are more academically oriented and they stress people out.
It is.
Tell the
Truth.
exact
Yeah.
truth now.
Yeah. So it is a little stressful. Like the you go into the institute and the first thing they'll tell you is A in IIMA stands for academics. It does not stand for Ahmedabad. It stands for academics, right? So yes, I would say at least in the first two terms, it is. I would not say stressful, but it's a little hectic. You have to manage a lot of subjects, especially if you don't have a lot of background in that subject. Say if someone is a chartered accountant, they would already have a lot of background
Yeah.
in finance courses, but for people who don't have, I think they have to. There are a lot of new things to learn. The exams part, like not okay. So in our batch, there was. I mean, at IIMA, what happens is they sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement on grades, which essentially means that the recruiters will not be told your grades, irrespective. Uh, I mean, and it's a very strategic decision that they've taken. It's because the recruiter should not evaluate a person's performance or a person's candidature for a job just based on the grades, right? I mean, people here have worked for 5-6 years at least, so they have a lot more in their profile apart just other than grades, right?
Right.
So it was a decision taken like which is running for like 7 years. It's going on at IIMA, at least or maybe before that also. But then the grades are not never told to the recruiters. So if you care about your academics, like if you are very focused that I really have to be in the top 5-6 in the merits list, then people are very stressed about because they want to ace every exam, or they want to do best in each of the examination, each component. Right? But then if you look like the way I looked at it was that I do not want to be in the top five, right? So I will never let that stress come to me. But my goal is to learn as much as I can as possible, right? So I'll involve myself in other activities as well at university, but I'll make sure I'll do decent at academics as well. So it basically depends on how you want to take it. But in the first two terms, yes, I would say there is a lot of focus from Ahmedabad. From the teachers also, they'll be like much more interested or much more strict. I not strict, but much more involved in all the academic activities. But it phases out during say third term or fourth term eventually. So yeah, it depends on the individual. I would say how they want to take it. But you would have a lot of quizzes. At least in some subjects, you would have in one term you have 6 or 7 subjects, and that normally each subject has one or two quiz, then an end term examination, every other all other graded components as well. So yeah, it's a little hectic definitely with the first 3 or 4 months.
Great. Thanks, Himanshu. Yeah, Diksha, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
can
Yeah.
hear you, Diksha.
Okay, I'll just piggyback off of that topic. Hi, Himanshu. So we talked about what it's like, pure learning and the course structure and exams, but just looking to hear your thoughts on what does it really take to succeed within the 1 year at the college? Like, how would you?
Yeah, so 147 people in the batch and 147 definitions of successful. I would say it that way. Like I mean, so for someone getting rank one in the institute is success. For someone getting the highest package in the college is success.
Yeah.
For someone like me meeting a lot of new people or doing decently on all fronts, I would count that as success. So I mean, really depends on the individual.
I just want to
Uh,
add something here, Himanshu, because you might be seeing me. I'm smiling so much because I'm just amazed how much you have changed in
Yeah.
terms of your communication. And I think
Yeah.
this is the biggest success for you because I did a lot of face-to-face mocks with you, so I distinctly remember how you were. And now when I see you after 1 year, I'm just amazed. So uh, I think it is great that you have actually transformed yourself, and I think that is
Yeah.
the biggest success you got. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, every person gets to define their own metrics of how they like MBA schools. eventually when I see it, it's just more than academics, right? People come here for learning, for their business, improving their business sense, for a lot for networking as well. Like I've networked with so many people. I like have so many contacts now which I did not have 1 year prior. So I think all depends on what you want out of this program. I wanted just one thing, that okay, this is the role that I want to pivot
Yeah.
into, and my focus was always focused my all my activities in university were aligned towards that. All the electives that then what I take are aligned towards the role that I want to get in.
Yeah.
All the study groups, or all the contacts that I make in the university, the kind of PGPs that I interact with,
Mm.
right? Or it all depends on what my eventual role is. So yeah, it works like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Like
Uh,
if there's some part that it did not answer, I can answer that.
No,
Maybe.
it did cover, I mean, the first line itself summarized it, but then you shared a few more details in that.
I
line.
just wanted to add one thing here, Diksha, from my experience. ISB, I don't know how they're doing right now, but in ISB, you get two P2P sessions. One with alums, which means direct 30 minutes face-to-face with alums. Alums are called to the campus for that. One happens immediately after you join, and the other happens immediately before your placement. So the guy who was mapped with me, they generally try to map up with you with someone who has same work ex as your post MBA aspirations.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he told me that you will get lost here if you try to do a lot, and if you try
Yeah.
to do a lot of
That's
things.
true.
It's
That's true.
crazy. So you go and write 3 to 4 things on your wall that these are the things you want to achieve when you graduate. And I actually did that. And my biggest thing was I wrote was that I want to get over my fear of numbers, because I was a doctor. I had never seen numbers. So whenever I used to see a big Excel sheet, I'm like, okay, what is this? So I wrote a couple of things. And to do first thing to get over the fear of numbers, once I got placed, I took craziest of the electives. I took data analytics and finance. I didn't know data, I didn't know finance. And there were only 15 students in that course. And many of them signed out after the first class, which ISB gives an option. You can drop a course after attending the first class if you think it is not for you. Uh, I did network analytics, and I was the only non-engineer in that batch. It was crazy. It went on too deep in numbers, and something they were doing on R or some advanced Excel. And I was never not even in top 10 in one of those courses. But when I went through everything, the fear of numbers got like it disappeared for life. So just decide what you want to do and just focus there. Ultimately, once you graduate, you'll feel that you made the best use of your money.
And I would say like it's good to explore new things, right? Like for example, at IIMA also I took so many courses. I sorry. I took I took so many courses in which I had no experience at all. I took some courses. I took a course called New Venture Finance, like because I was curious about how startup financing is stuff. I took a course, like, probably the grades suggest that I should not have taken, but I took a course on legal aspects of business as well, right? Because how those things work, I had previously I had no idea. So I mean, it's the whole set of electives or whole professors, the whole setup is there to teach you things which you don't know. If you already knew things, you would not have been in that B school. Right? It's there to teach you a lot of things. So take that advantage, I would say.
Thanks so much.
Siddharth is asking, did you have any batchmates who came from family businesses? Also, how many students were doing their MBA for the second time? Great question. Do you have any insight?
Great question, and very clear question. So yes, family businesses, they were actually a couple, husband and wife, who were both chartered accountants,
Oh,
and both chartered accountants, and they actually run a pretty good. I mean, it's a third generational firm, CA firm from Vadodara, and they had uh, like it's a quite big firm as far as I know. 400 people work in that firm. So they had come for GPX, and they did pretty well actually. So yeah, that was there. Apart from that, for people who are doing the second MBAs, in fact, one of very good friend of mine who was eventually the batch. He was second in the batch academy. He was 10 years experience, and then he was doing a second MBA. His first MBA was from Tapmi
oh,
Tapmi in Manipal.
Manipal, yeah.
Yeah, and there was one other folk as well. Who did it from some university in Pune, I don't know. But then yeah, there were at least two to three folks who were doing it for the second time.
Which is a big number if the batch is only 140. Three
And-
people out of 140 is
yeah.
a very big number for second MBA.
Yeah, and second MBA, and if you talk about second masters, there were definitely a lot of people.
You were one of them.
I was one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was one of them. I already have an MTech. But and there were at least 9 more folks like me, but an MTech from IITs. So they were also there.
Great, Siddharth. Now I hope you have completely understood why I strongly suggested IIM Ahmedabad also along with ISP while preparing your application.
So I would say like whatever recommendations Anshul makes, like I would now I think I remember that whatever recommendations he has made, I should have like taken them on face value. Like okay, just purchase whatever he's saying. He'll definitely tell you the most suited things to you because he understands. So what it exactly is like we have only one thing, right? You understand only your profile, but Anshul has seen say hundreds of profile of people with different requirements, right? So whatever recommendations that he'll make to you will be very well suited to your. I mean, it will definitely increase your probability of success in whichever university you're applying. So yeah, that was my experience.
So
Just
even
to
I
share.
had a lot of reservation before, advising people on IIMA because ISB, so I'm 200% confident because I come from
Yeah.
there. But IIM Ahmedabad, because see, you know me, I am very, very cautious before giving advice. I don't want to give wrong advice to anyone.
Correct.
When I saw the results of this year, and
Right.
because again, I trained everyone this year as well. And then I realized that, okay, this is happening. People are able to do it with however I'm training at IIM Ahmedabad as well.
Right.
The Priyanshi was the biggest success, which I was not expecting because her mocks were really bad. But
Right.
when she got in, I realized of course, I'm not denying that she is not I'm not denying that she is not a suitable candidate. She is more than suitable, in fact, because the way she worked hard after the mock feedback is amazing. But I'm saying if she can do that, trust me, anyone can do that because it is no big thing. Like it is normal. She was just a run-of-the-mill candidate who worked hard. That's it.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Yeah, if you keep your like even I would agree. Like if you just do as I said in the starting of the call, there are a set of steps that you have to do correctly, and most people don't falter in one of them, at least one of them. So if you just keep ticking those boxes, right? I mean, it's not very difficult. I'm about this more than happy if your profile is suited. They're more than happy.
Rahul, I'm not sure what is IIP. Can you explain?
Yeah, I can talk about that.
Okay.
It is the International Immersion
Okay.
Tablet. Yeah. So I'm not sure who's asked that question.
Rahul has asked the question.
Yeah, it's
Rahul.
the same thing.
Yeah,
Same what you
Rahul.
told.
Yeah, Rahul. So basically, they are after 2 terms at IIM-A. So the third term is the International Immersion Program, and it's a compulsory thing. Unlike I think ISB, ISB it is not compulsory. At IIM-A it is. So you will be given 3 options of European schools which you want to apply to. One of them was ESCP in France, and in Germany, and in Berlin. Sorry, in Paris and in Berlin. The other one was ESADE in Spain and in Barcelona and Madrid. And Madrid, they had 2 campuses. And the third one was Vienna University, I think. Yeah,
Austria.
it was in Austria. Yeah. So people have to make choices out of them, and they have to spend their third term there. So I went to ESCP.
You went to both Paris and Berlin, right?
I went to both Paris and Berlin campuses. So it was amazing.
What about the expenses? How much you need to spend more for that?
So the expenses, I'm not sure like what if they've changed at this part, but at our time it was like we have to pay like tuition fee is not paid, but the travel you have to take care of that. The travel is
Stay
not
and food and all that. Everything.
that is taken care by the students itself, not by the institute. Only the tuition part is covered by school. So it is like it depends like individually how much the people different people may have different. So some people because there's a gap of 1 week before that also. So some people they want to roam around Europe. Or people make such plans as well. So it's a very good experience, I would say. At least at ESCP, I felt because ESCP is the oldest B school in the world.
Yes.
Not only in Europe, right? I forgot, but it was established sometime in 1800s or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the oldest in the world. So it was a very good experience there as well, learning from the profs there on different topics, and also you'd get an idea of how foreign like economies work, how different they are from India. Like because like at least all my experience was in India, so I have a very focused vision of what happens here, but I did not know how different countries work. That's a very enriching experience. Plus, it's a Europe trip, I would say. If people uh, get excited by that. So, happy to answer any more
Yeah.
questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people are thinking what to ask. I have one question, Himanshu. So you have been through the process and everything. For you, things were a bit different because you already had a 730. Long ago, you had a 730 already. Even
Yeah.
though you're trying to push, and you did push successfully to 740 as well, even though it was not needed. I had
Yeah.
told you as well
Yeah,
that it was
yeah.
not needed.
I was thinking that I would be able to push to 750 or 60, but then I could not. Yeah.
No, the thing is that the
Yeah.
issue, the only thing that
Yeah.
you're lacking was communication, nothing
Yeah.
else.
Correct.
Your 730 never was a hindrance in your
Yeah.
admit. Anyway, so now because you know you have been through IIM Bangalore, cracked IIM Bangalore as well, IIM Ahmedabad, and you have been through the ISB process as well. I'm encouraging people to start early rather than
Yeah.
waiting till the last moment to get that perfect
Definitely.
GMAT.
Definitely.
So what is your opinion on that? Because
Definitely. I think it's the most important. I mean, universities will keep saying all the rounds are same, right? But
it's not.
so it's not. Let me
Not.
tell you, it's not. Round one, you have the brightest chances.
Yes.
Round two, your chances are okay. I mean, they're almost good as round one, but a little less than round one. And round three, it's just to make sure that they fill up their seats. Eventually, it is.
And get some money also.
Yeah, and get some money. At the end of the day, these are businesses running. Let me tell you. Yeah, these are businesses running. So round three, if they think okay, they want to get more people, they'll get that. So it's very important because the year before that I had come to Anshul, I had also made an application to IIM-A, in which got in the year which I made an application to ISB. But the application that I had made to IIM-A that year was in round three. So it gave me very little time to prepare myself for the interviews, all that stuff, and everything happened so quickly because I timed my GMAT incorrectly at that time.
Yeah.
So I could not do justice to my preparation and to my application. That is the truth. The next year I realized that. And then when I went to Anshul, I told him very clearly, okay, this I want to do it and I want to do it in round one. Right? And he focused and eventually actually I went to him pretty late, but then he was generous enough to accommodate my request. And I wanted to apply to round one because it gives you a lot of time to evaluate a lot of things, right? You're not in a hurry. You are just able to take decisions very quickly and very wisely. Even if you have an admit from, say, I'm Bangalore coming up or a different school coming up, you get a lot of time to talk to a lot of alums to get to study this thing very well, right? There's much more time to do.
I am very, you already know because you are in the alumni group, but this approach of starting early has helped a 650 girl to go to IIM Bangalore.
Yeah, yeah.
660 guy to go to ISP, 710 engineer unemployed to go to ISB in round three.
Yeah.
Because they had kept their application ready, they kept kept pushing for multiple attempts of GMAT. Some of the people got the higher score, some of the people didn't get even till because they kept trying till the end. This 710 guy who got in round three, he actually attempted on the day of his deadline, one more attempt, last attempt. He could not improve the score. But because the application was stronger and they had spent a lot of time building that application, at the end they won.
I cannot emphasize it more, guys. This is very, very important. I mean, see, GMAT, you would feel that okay, I've been through the process, so I understand how GMAT works, right? GMAT, you will always feel that you are not prepared enough, right? You will always feel that.
Yes.
You will never feel that, okay, I am confident enough to take GMAT. It's only when you take the examination date. I'm not saying take it too early, but make a very a good judgment on when you can be reasonably ready or taking it. And remember, GMAT is only one component.
And
GMAT
very
is
small component.
and
Very
GMAT is
small.
a small component.
Yeah.
And for all you know, universities use it as a qualifying criteria rather than a selecting
That's it.
criteria.
It's especially IIM Ahmedabad. ISP
Yeah.
still has this holistic thing.
Yeah.
IIM Ahmedabad, once you reach interview,
Yeah.
then it depends on the performance
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
interview. That's it. Nothing
Yeah.
else.
They really, I mean, it's very small a component to spend your months on, I would say.
People spend 5, 6, 7, 8 months on GMAT and 20 days on application, and then they ask me,
This
why
this is
did I
yeah,
get
this
rejected?
I mean, this is the biggest mistake they can do, right? I would say don't give more than 3 to 4 months to GMAT or whatever time is, and give enough
No, you
time.
give more if you want to, but then you
Yeah,
do your application also.
yeah.
Distribute your time.
Give your a lot of time to applications. That is what, and do not, and I think Anshul will take care of that also. That write only those things in the applications that you're very confident about, because the interviews there, the professors, they're all stalled. Like in ISB, alums take the interviews, but at IIM Ahmedabad, the professors take the interview. And I'm Bangalore. There
And
are two
IIM
professors.
Ahmedabad to is telling people, ये आंसर
Right.
तो तुम्हारे consultant ने रटवाया है तुमको.
Correct. They'll tell you like that. And
Yeah.
believe me, those professors have been in this setting for years and years. So
Decades, yeah.
yeah, and so they can clearly figure out if you're faking something or if you're
Yes.
just making things up. So be very genuine in the interviews, I would say, and only write things which you can sell. I mean, if you are writing things which are not correct, there's no way you can fool them. I can tell that for sure.
You can sometimes fool,
So you can
not really
sometimes,
fool, but you might someday convert ISB through, I don't know, I will not say faking, but IIM Ahmedabad, impossible.
yeah, be very
They
confident about
start stressing you the moment you start the interview, and then it
Yeah.
is your job to ensure that you are not getting stressed and
So
continue.
yeah, so there's a very stark like on this topic. Can I just like talk about ISB and IMA interview experiences if you
Please,
want?
by all
Yeah,
means. These are all
yeah,
people are applying to both the schools.
yeah. So ISB is a very pleasant kind of interview. You won't even The interview will be very pleasant and they'll be very friendly with you. I mean, even if the interview is going bad, good, doesn't matter. The instruction, and I think Anshul also has taken a lot of interviews there,
Yes.
so he knows. Like that is their format. And if you get rejected, you won't even get to know your interview will look to you like your interview went well, irrespective of you will get rejected or selected. IIM Ahmedabad, on the contrary, is a very stressful interview. There are two professors. One plays the bad cop. His job is to stress people, to ask questions outside of their comfort zone. Whatever you have written, they'll ask you why that and only that. Why you couldn't have taken approaches other than that, right? And they'll ask you a lot of questions about whatever you do. And the other professor will just sit and observe. He is going to just sit and observe. Maybe he'll ask one or two very small questions too, but his job primarily is to sit. So that is the format. And also they have an extemper in
Yeah.
Ahmedabad interviews. I'm not sure if it is there this year as well.
This year it is there. We
So
discussed
that
a
is
great
more
deal
for
about extempore in our kickoff call for IIM Ahmedabad.
yeah. So they would be an extemporary as well, and that is more of an icebreaker. But then they take topics which are very, I mean, in which there's no one answer, right? I mean, of course, in an extemporary. So whatever you say, the professor will try to put counter arguments on that. So basically, it's kind of an icebreaker. It's not a deciding factor, but that is there. Mostly, I would say IMA is more of a stress interview, and that is for a reason that they have designed it like that.
So one thing I want on as a follow-up to this, Himanshu, when I was discussing this, I completely explained their interview technique and extempore, and I also gave them around 70, 80 extempore topics of this year. I mean, the year that just
Okay.
went by. So I could feel people are getting a bit scared and intimidated, and I asked them that, what do you think? How are you feeling after knowing all this, the entire IMA process, that there is extempore and the interview is pretty stressful? So a bit of people accepted that, okay, I'm feeling a bit intimidated and overwhelmed. What do you have to say to these people?
Like, guys, relax. I mean, I would just say this if the process is this, it is the same for everyone.
Yes.
They have this, yeah.
Yes.
So it's not just for you. Right? It's the same for everyone. Everyone comes out of IIM Ahmedabad interview thinking that they're rejected.
Yes.
No, there's no one person who comes
No,
out of
no, no.
interview.
Priyanshi was one. Priyanshi told me,
Okay.
message karke ki Anshul, I was very confident.
Okay.
I followed all your advices and everything went well. But I didn't even reply to that message because I thought she has got some mental problem, because she got maybe very traumatized after IIM Ahmedabad. That's why she's saying that, because in her mock she freezed. In the first mock she completely freezed. She started sweating. I had to stop and I had to tell her, okay, I'll not count this. You go back, come back to me after 2 days. And like from this, of course, she took the other mock, she improved a lot. From this, she's coming and telling me her IIM went really well. So I was not believing her. But
Okay.
but
Yeah.
after all the
I,
feedback that I got from people, it is stressful.
yeah.
This is
I
what.
would say I would say just focus, like keep in mind that it is the interview is designed like that. It's not that they are being uh stressful only with you. It's a design rather than your candidature. Keep that in mind, and I think you should be for that. The whole interview experience is a little, I would say, it's a little long also, because, and so eventually it might feel that it's running like too long, but then at the end of the day, I would say an IIMA PGPX admit is worth it.
Great.
Hey
Any
Himanshu, Muskan this side. One question.
Yeah, Muskan.
Actually, uh, like I have also completed my masters. I am a bachelor's in economics, and then I have done my masters in economics from Jamia. So
Yeah.
in 22 only, I have completed, and I'll be having like approximately 2 years of work ex now in June. So I mean, should I like I have just started preparing for GMAT as of now.
Okay.
And so I'm a little apprehensive because I see a lot of people who go to ISB, they just go after their UG. Majority of the people, like I have dual degrees already. So, but like, what would you suggest? Should I wait it out for a 1 or 2 more years, then apply? What would you suggest? I mean, I'm a little apprehensive about that. Also, I feel that other than just looking at B schools, we should look at colleges outside India, not specifically B schools outside India, because they are costing a bit on a higher side. I mean, they cost a lot. So that is not what my
Right.
appetite would allow right now. Just wanted to understand for a person who has done MA in economics. So as of now, I'm working as a program manager in the CEO's office. I'm working as on the strategy side of things as well. So just wanted to understand what would be suitable for a person with my candidate. Like, so
one thing
like
I
I
want
have
to want to
migrated. Yeah,
want
yeah.
to add here, Muskan, you are not eligible for IIM Ahmedabad in India.
Currently.
I know. 4 years is what the thing is that I know. For ISB, I would be eligible. That I
But
know.
then you'll have to wait at least for a couple of years before you make an application file.
Yeah, yeah. Till then, at least I should have a GMAT score, is what I'm thinking. But I just wanted to understand your perspective as to how the cohort looks like. See, I know in ISB, people from all backgrounds are there. People who have 7, 8 years of experience, they are also coming. People who have no experience, they are also coming.
No,
So
people
there.
cannot come with no experience, Muskan, at ISP.
With,
So it's
with
So
not allowed.
at least two.
2 years max is what they're having. Now 2, 3 years
Minimum.
max.
Minimum.
Minimum.
Minimum 2, 3 years. Yes.
Yeah. Minimum is 2, 3 at ISP. But I think like it depends on like whether you want to do it right now or whether you want to like wait for a couple of years before even applying.
No,
Because yeah,
that is
if
what I was
yeah,
yeah, apprehensive about that. That was what I was apprehensive about, because some people say that 2 to 3 is the ideal after work ex that you should apply, is what I have heard from people. 2 to 3 years
so
is the
in
ideal.
PGPX, like say these are two different programs you're talking about. Like 2 to 3 years, then it becomes a different kind of audience, right? At PGPX, the minimum experience is 4 years, so an average is close to 7 years. So these are two very different cohorts that we're talking about.
Okay.
So Anshul, regarding like foreign universities, I have not researched too much. So
Yeah, yeah.
maybe
So I will
Anshul, you
answer
can,
this question
yeah,
for you, Muskan. So see, if you'll ask me, again, it's my personal opinion. I don't want to impose my opinion on anyone. It's always ideal to do it early because of multiple reasons. First, even especially if you're looking at ISP, it is increasing its fee crazily every year. It makes no sense to again wait for 1 or 2 years and pay that
yeah,
hefty fee. That is one.
yeah,
I paid 24 LPA, 24 lakhs for ISP. Imagine. 24 because I had a scholarship also. I didn't have a very big scholarship, but with that I paid exactly 24.2.
Okay.
You know how
Okay.
much the current batch is paying, right? It's
It's great. But yes, see, my sister is also from ISB. My real
uh,
sister, she also paid a lot. She is 2018,
exactly.
19 batch,
Oh, so
and
she's
post
one
that.
one year my junior. Okay.
So she the fees after, like, now the fees has increased a lot, so she doesn't suggest me to go for ISB because of the fees
Okay,
itself.
we
She
will
says,
let's stick to the topic. Let's stick to the topic. We will talk about this in one-to-one call. Don't worry, I'll answer all your queries. So, but answering your question, that is one reason I suggest people to do whenever you feel you are ready and just get it done with.
Yeah.
That is one, because and it is always easy to do it when you are younger, because after a few years you might get married.
Yeah, I mean it's like for me also it
Yes.
was a very important thing to do it this year and this year itself. That is why I started, like, no offense to other programs, but then I started having backups, like I'm going code also, like, and other backups which ideally I would not have liked to join it. So timing is a personal decision, like when you want to do it. But I would again agree with what Anshul is saying, that earlier the better. You never know how market.
Your horizons will be very wide when if you
Right.
do it early. Almost
Right.
every job will be open to you,
Correct.
except a few which are only coming for leadership roles. Every job will be open to you, and if you really end up liking something very different when you go to the B school, you will have an option to switch to that role. If you spend 4 to 5 years working, then the recruiter will be like, okay, this person has already spent 4 to 5 years working in this field. It will be difficult for me to remold him or her into this new profile or into this new domain. So they might not prefer you. Himanshu, please correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
that's absolutely correct. So there are a certain set of companies which like young candidates. There are a certain set of companies which like experienced candidates. Right? But then when you experience, your options are more focused and more limited. They may be in senior roles, but if you want to keep more diverse options open for you, then I think doing it at a young age is the better option. Or doing it early is a better option.
See, I did when I was 24, and I was one of the youngest in the batch because ISP, if you have seen the current profile, 22 to 45 is the age range. From 22 years old to 45. I was 24, so I was among the younger people, and I was very happy that I did at that age. It was very, for me, it was a lot of work because I also come from very different background. So everything was difficult for me. Plus, I had low experience, but things turned out very well. And I think most of the things that turned out well for me was one of the reasons was that I started early. So I literally had, I mean, I was very sure I want to remain with marketing, but I had all the industries open to me. I had shortlists from FMCG companies like HUN, PNG, healthcare companies, from typical SaaS companies like PhonePe. PhonePe had just started back then, and some other FMCG companies as well, internet-based companies like DirectEye as well. So had I had gone after 5 years of work, I don't think so many companies would have opened the doors to me.
So, no, my other question was just this, that I've already done MA in economics, but
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
didn't but I didn't pursue a career specifically in MA because I realized that research was not my cup of tea. That was one major line that opened up after MA economics. So that's not what I went after.
Himanshu can answer that for you. He is also an MTech.
Yeah, so even I made deviations. Like it's not really a concern to them. As long as you justify what you want to do and why you can do it, it's okay. So a typical for a typical typing, my next logical step should have been to do a PhD if I wanted to study further
Right,
after an
right.
MTech. So I also know that, but if I felt the need for a pivot and hence I could justify it, and if you really think that I mean it should not be a problem for justified that you've not done research or but
Got it.
if you can just justify what you want to do, I think that should be
Got it. Got it. Thanks, thanks, Himanshu. Thanks, Anshul.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Krishna, you have another question.
So it's sort of a post question. Would that be okay if,
Post question as
as
in?
in like related to placement, something that happens
Yeah,
after?
by all means.
Yeah,
That's why I have
absolutely.
called him now. Otherwise, most of the Gyan even I know, but there are few
Yeah.
things only he can tell you. So please ask.
Yeah. So Anshul recently shared a document for IIM Ahmedabad placements of this year. And majority of the placements for marketing I saw were for Bangalore. Now
Yeah.
I just had a very simple question. While you sit for placements, does IIM Ahmedabad or the companies give you the flexibility to choose your base location, or is it something that you take and then eventually you shift?
So I mean it depends from company to company. There's no one answer to this. I mean some companies which would be happy to accommodate your request, saying that okay, whichever locations that you want to choose, you can choose that. They really don't care about where you work from. Right? Some offices may have some companies may have offices only in certain cities, so it becomes necessary for them
Right. Okay.
for you to be in that city. Right? So it really depends from company to company. There's nothing IIMA is going to do regarding that. It's just a communication between like how to coordinate it with the company. Nothing from IIMA. Exactly.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it has nothing to, location has nothing to do with the college. College cannot do anything. The company has to decide. And if
Okay.
you think that company has a office at some other location as well, you can request. Most of the companies will agree. They do, most of
Yeah,
the
most of the company and now I think most of the companies are very open, especially if
post
you have
COVID,
marketing
people are
roles.
like, people know
Yeah.
that you can work
So
from
so
anywhere.
so like in the same company that I'm working, there was one other batchmate of mine. I'm working at Bangalore. She was very clear that okay, because her husband works in Hyderabad, she said, okay, I want to be situated in Hyderabad, and the company was okay with that. So there's no problem regarding.
Amazing. Perfect.
Plus,
Thank
if
you.
you say Bangalore, yes, Bangalore is the single highest.
Yeah.
Say for our batch, 147 people were there. At least 50 of them are in Bangalore,
Yeah.
or will be in Bangalore. So yeah, you can say 1/3 of the batch here
Are you
is there.
getting enough water there?
Yeah, we're struggling, but that's okay.
अब तो बारिश हो गई ना उधर.
Yeah, once or twice.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you so much.
Okay, guys, what else? Please ask him questions rather than messaging me on DM. Okay, because
How
again,
good are, yeah, I have a question. How good are finance placements? I'm aware that placements are but finance placements are good enough. Yeah. Like, see, now again,
it might be better than ISB, I think.
yeah, it because
Ahmedabad is good in finance, unlike
let me
ISB.
tell you, I am Ahmedabad is like for example, every college has a specialization. Like they may not say, but it's specialized in a way. For example, I'm Bangalore is a school which is good for tech and entrepreneurship. Right?
Yes.
I'm Bangalore.
And
I'm
IIM Bangalore is very clear in that.
yeah,
Till
in that, right?
2022, they were taking only IT people for more than 50% of the batch.
Yeah,
They
because
recently changed it.
fits their goal eventually, right? They want to create a niche in tech and entrepreneurship. They recruit such people. I mean, they take such students. I Ahmedabad, essentially, if you see, techies are a minority there. I would say, right? I mean, I would not say a minority, but then the proportion is not as high as Ahmedabad. The I am Ahmedabad's what USP is finance or maybe a little bit of operations as well. Finance is something that they focus on. You would get so many courses of finance you cannot even imagine. And eventually it translates down to placements as well. The kind of companies which will come. In our batch, I would say around 10 or 11 candidates were chartered accountants. I think if I'm not wrong, 10 or 11, right? So all of them have good roles in which they want. So eventually, I would say finance is not a problem. In a bad year, it may be a problem. For example, if you're very choosy about where you want to go, that if I want to go to this particular role in say VC kind of a role or like specific things, then it might be a problem that you might not get a job from campus. But then again, the platform will look for alternatives if you can get a job outside the system and all these things. But then, overall speaking, I would say it's pretty good here. And rather, his focus is on finance.
Shivam is asking some light on product management and tech consulting placement. I think Himanshu is again the best person to answer this because he recently went through the
Yeah.
process successfully.
Yeah,
So
yeah, correct. So for product, I would say I would not keep this year as a benchmark because this year was a little weak. And a lot of tech companies fired a lot of people, so they were not again very enthusiastic about hiring, especially product managers. But I would say ample number of companies options you will get. In tech consulting also there are enough options that are available on campus. In product management, if you say this time around, I think close to 15 folks from IIM PGPX have got this kind of roles. Not necessarily in very established companies, but definitely in say some startups or The role is perfectly fine with which they have got, right? Uh, the if I talk about established companies like Microsoft or Amazon, so Amazon was there on campus this time, but for a program manager. Microsoft again was did some hiring uh, for PPM product management. But then this year it was a little less than what it is usually. But then I would say there are definitely options in product management roles. Definitely, it's a marketing. It's a spin-off of marketing role. If now product management is also very different kind of role, which are you talking about? I'm not sure, Shivam. But if you say technical product management, that's a different thing. Then people may be growth product managers or different kind of product management. Is there anything specific that you are asking here, Shivam?
Yeah,
While
Himanshu. No, I'm good. I think you explained it perfectly very well.
So
All right.
Krisha is asking, would ISB consider the best for marketing or is there any other college? So Krisha, the best college in marketing is IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Bangalore 2-year MBA. If you really want to
Yeah.
deep dive and find out which are the best program and SP Jam 2-year MBA as well. It's
Yeah.
doing great in marketing. But you have already crossed that
Yeah, in
experience.
terms
Now,
of work yeah.
yes, now for 1-year MBA for marketing, I would suggest
ISB.
ISB and then IMA.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think
Definitely
that's
not
correct.
Bangalore or Calcutta.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
no chance for the Bangalore.
Bangalore, though, definitely not. Don't go there if you want to get into marketing. I'm Calcutta. I'm not really sure, but I will connect you to the alum to deep dive into because I have never worked with anyone with IIM Calcutta with a marketing post MBA aspiration. But I will connect you to someone and she can give you enough detail about it. But for 1 year, ISB first preference, IIM Ahmedabad second preference. That's it. You have.
Yeah, this really reasons of the thought. Thank you.
But in ISB also, you will find yourself in a minority of the minority community, being a marketing aspirant, where everyone is going at for consulting. But it will actually help you because trust me, your competition will become very, very small when you'll. Yes, yes. I did not have. I had a very small group of people who were genuinely interested in marketing, and out of those people also, there are many who got into who went to consulting because of peer. I don't say peer pressure, but peer influence.
Yeah, yeah.
If you want to stick to marketing, that yeah, I want to get into marketing, you will get what you want. I exactly got what I had written in my essays are already made public. If you have
Yes.
seen, I have written, I want to get into a marketing role in a healthcare company, and this is exactly what I got.
Yeah.
I was in Mohali in 2022 in August for the resume review of that batch, and because I was from marketing, so all the marketing people were mapped to me for the resume review, and all of them got PNG, HUL, fintech startups. Again, marketing role in fintech startups. All of them got what they wanted because the community itself is very small. The learning is great courses in marketing, a lot of courses in marketing, and lots of opportunities for life projects in marketing, case study competitions to build your profile. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. And hardly any competition.
Wow, that sounds really exciting.
So ISP and then IIM Ahmedabad. For marketing, IIM Ahmedabad and ISP for finance in that order. Operations also, IIM Ahmedabad and ISP. General
There are a lot of roles for like operations also that came for
Yes.
supply chain.
Yes.
All those things also there are and good roles. It's not like people are settling for those roles. People are like really aspired for them.
Okay, this is really insightful because these things are not available online. So I mean, it'll only come from people like Anshul and yourself.
Any more questions, guys?
Okay. If there are no more questions, then we'll let Himanshu go and enjoy his rest of the weekend. He has just joined a new job, so I'm pretty sure things are very hectic. And it's your first time in Bangalore, right? Or have you worked there before?
No, I have worked at
Tesco, you were in Bangalore only.
Tesco. I was in Tesco.
Okay. Great, Himanshu. Again, thanks a lot because I understand once you start the job, post MBA job, things are not the same as pre MBA job. It's crazy. People would want to sleep on a weekend, and you decided to give 1 hour, and I'm really thankful for that. And yes, all the best. As I said, I can see how much you have transformed, and there is only one way you can go further. That is only onwards and upwards. So
Thank you.
thank
So
you.
much, Anshul.
Bye-bye.
Guys, I just, for ending, I think the points that Anshul made, starting early and persevering in your applications, that's the only way. And Praveen saying there is no rocket science,
No, it's very easy.
and it's
Just
very
do
easy.
things one
Yeah,
at a time.
just and I would just reiterate that you have got a very good mentor in Anshul. I think he has seen a lot of people through this process, and if you follow what he says in the correct timeline, I think that should
Yeah,
get
in
you
the
through.
correct timeline, because
In the correct timeline,
have a
I
team. I do
reiterating.
not work like it, like a scaling a business where I will come to me, I'll send, give your application to someone else. So if you come to me at the last moment, I will straight away say no, because I'm a single person team. So that's it. Okay, great, Himanshu. I also
Thank
have to
you.
jump on another call, and thanks a lot for your time again,
Thank
and
you.
all the best. If still you need anything from my side, if I'm at a position to help you, feel free to let me know.
Sure.